Hey guys, this is Percentages Day 17, and I'm going to run through a couple problems because there was a lot of confusion today during the lesson, and I think that some of you might, hopefully, will be trying to get a little help this evening by watching a video. So let's go through the last three questions on your notes, numbers 4, 5, and 6. And let's start with Edward. So Edward had $60. He spent $80 of the money on books and 50% of the remainder on food. And we want to know how much more did he spend on books than food? Well, to be able to answer this question, we need to find dollar amounts that he spent on books, and we need to find a dollar amount that he spent on food. Well, it's easy to find the dollar amount of books, right? Because if he had $60, so there's Edward's $60. And let's see, he spent 80% on books. We can find 80% of $60, no problem. Okay, so let's do that. We've got our fraction 80 over 100, 80% times 60 over 1, and let's do some cross canceling, and we're left with 8 times 6, which equals $48. So our dollar amount that he spent on books was 48. Well, if he spent 80% of his money on books, that means he had 20% left over, right? We could do this one of two ways. We also know that if he spent $48 on books, 60 minus 48 would be 12, so this dollar amount down here would be $12. And then we could find 50% of $12, which would equal $6. So that's not hard at all, right? But I want to make sure that we are reviewing how to do the remainder problems. So I'm going to do this the slightly longer way. So he spent 50% of the remainder on food, and that goes right there. And so we're going to find 50% of 20%. And we're going to do some cross canceling here. And when we find a percent of a percent, remember that we're going to end up with a percent. So our answer is 10%. So that's how much of the original he spent on food. So if I go back now and I find 10% of my original $60, I'm going to get $6, right? My question, though, is how much more did he spend on books than on food? So I need to set up an equation to find that answer. So $48 minus $6 is going to be $42. So he spent $42 more on books. Now the second part of my question says, how many percent more did he spend on books than food? Okay, this is a more over than problem. So more books than food. So more books is going to go on the top, more on books, and then than food on the bottom. Okay, well, we already found out how much more he spent on books, right, guys? It was $42. So that's going to go on the top. And we found out how much he spent on food. That was $6. And then we're going to convert that to a percent. Okay, so let's cross cancel. We're going to divide 6 by 6, we get 1. We're going to divide 42 by 6, and we get 7. And we're going to end up with 700%. And my statement would be, Edward spent 700% more on books than food. All right, let's try the next one. Tom has $300, Bet has 40% more than Tom, and has twice as much as Nan. The first question is, how much money do they have altogether? So this one really tripped us up today because we were going back and forth with, wait, does Nan have half of Tom's or half of Bet's? So if we look carefully at our word problem here, it says Bet has 40% more money than Tom, and that "and" means that Bet is still the subject of this second part of the sentence here, and has twice as much money as Nan. So we're going to set up our bar models. Tom has $300, and since everything references Tom, I'm going to make him have 100%. It says Bet has 40% more than Tom. So that means that she has 140%. Bet has twice as much money as Nan. So that means that Nan has 70%. We want to know how much money they have altogether, not how much percentage they have altogether. So let's find that out. So we already know how much Tom has. He has $300. Bet has 140% of $300. So she has 140 times 3. So she has $420. And Nan has 70% of $300. So Nan has $210. And now we need to add them all together. So if we add 300 plus 420, that's going to give me 720 right there. And then we add another $210. That's going to equal $930. So that's how much money all three people have altogether. Okay, now it says what percentage of Tom's money is Nan's money. So remember, it's is over of. So that means I want Nan over Tom. And remember that Nan has $210 and Tom has $300. And I'm going to convert that to a percentage. And actually, let's use method 1 for this. So we'll divide by 3 over 3. And that gives me 100 in my denominator, which is what we want, right? Because we're trying to find a percentage. And if I divide 210 divided by 3, I'm going to get 70. So what percentage of Tom's money is Nan's money? She has 70%. Not hard though, right guys? Because we already figured that out up here because we used logic. We knew that she had half of 140%, and we already found that out. It was 70%. But there you go. Nan has, we should write this. Nan's money is 70% of Tom's. Okay? All right, let's try one more together. Mike has $200. Ike has 20% less money than Mike, but 4 times as much money as Spike. This is really similar to the last one, so you guys should go ahead and give it a try. How much money do they have all together? All right, well, let's start with some bar models. So we have Mike, and he has $200. And since, let's see, Ike has 20% less. So we're going to give Mike 100% here. And if Ike has 20% less, he's got 80%. But 4 times as much as Spike. So if Ike has 80%, that means Spike has 20%. How much money do they have all together? Well, we already know how much Mike has. He has $200. Ike has 80% of $200, which equals $160. And Spike has 20% of $200, which is going to equal $40. So let's add those all together. 200 plus 160 plus 40. And we're going to get $400. They have $400 all together. I'm going to write that right here. And it says, what percentage of Mike's money is Spike's money? So we have is over of, right? So we have Spike over Mike. And we kind of already know that Spike has 20%, but let's go ahead and prove it. So if Spike has $40 and Mike has $200, and if we use method 1 to convert that to a percent, we get 20 over 100, which equals 20%. So Spike's money is 20% of Mike's money. Okay guys, that's it for day 17. Your homework tonight was workbook exercise 23. The problems in your workbook are very similar to the ones we just did, so look for similarities and use your notes to help you.